Good afternoon. My name is Tumi Tladi and welcome to my YouTube channel. If this video is the first video of mine that you are watching, I'm gonna urge you to watch my other previous videos on this channel. I promise nothing but excellent quality of content. Okay, so today is Thursday, the 19th of August 2021. Time is 29 minutes after 12 p.m. So I've kicked off yesterday a new series. It's a mini series because I'm gonna move quick and the videos are meant to be very short. It's called Web API series. I'm gonna be focusing on both the .NET framework and .NET Core. So yesterday we started off with what is Web API, so we should mark this as done. Today we're gonna do overview, and the overview of Web API, looking at identical docs system. So we're gonna start this session with HTTP verbs or methods. We're gonna talk about this in Web API environment, and then we'll talk about get, post, put, and delete. The second session we're gonna do response type, and then so forth. So this is what we're gonna be doing right now. So before we proceed with a bit of a study, in Visual Studio on identical docs system, currently on Web API branch, please watch my my previous videos on version control. We finished this series. It's a big series. It's a lovely series. I did everything that you see here. Please watch that series in detail, and then please stay tuned for the next series. It's gonna be a major series for Xamarin, particularly Android. I'm gonna be showing how I built my Android application. Okay, for now, so we are on Web API branch 29 outgoing commit, and this is the 30th commit. So let me do this, push it. Before I do this, one of the videos in version control was these icons, tiny icons. As you can see, says pending edit, and then this one where pending add. So that's how you know what you're doing, how much you're pushing, and also with the get changes tab, you know what's happening. With the symbols also, they can help you. So what was I doing previously? Let's give this guy a second to a minute to commit these changes. Come on. There we go. Cool. So now we are done. Okay, so because I'm still busy with the V3 system, for Web API. We'll talk about the V3 system when we get to. We don't have it, but I think when it comes to contracts, we'll talk about V1, V2, because this is a version of the system. But we'll talk about that. Okay, so I'm done with the auto mapper, and then next up is going to be controller. Okay, so what are, let's do HTTP verbs in Web API. You see, it knows what I'm looking for. You can use HTTP verb, you can also use HTTP method interchangeably when you go to a job interview, so yeah, cool. So we have a website called RESTful API. So let's see what it has. Okay, I'm not gonna read everything. I mean, you can do your own study. What I do, I don't do things according to how other people are doing it. As you can see, the entire internet has a lot about this topic of Web API. I'm sure YouTube has a plenty of videos, but my content is unique because it's focusing on the system that I put out there in production called Identical Docs. So I'm gonna be doing everything in that context. So HTTP methods, I told you, verbs or methods. Now, REST APIs enables you to develop any kind of web application having all possible CRUD. We know CRUD, right? Create, retrieve, or you can call it read, update, and delete operations. REST guidelines suggest using a specific HTTP method on a particular type of a call made to the server. Though technically it is possible to violate this guideline, yet it is highly discouraged. Use below given information to find a suitable HTTP method for the action performed by API. So HTTP GET. Use GET request to retrieve resource, representation, or information only, and not to modify it in any way. Now you understand. I'm not gonna go further. But the one thing I will tell you is that for any given HTTP GET API, if the resource is found on the server, then it must return HTTP response code 200. Now, as a web API developer and also as an MVC developer, you should know status code, right? 200, it's okay. Okay, along with the response body, which is usually either XML or JSON content due to their platform independent nature. And we're going to be doing this video next up, the response type, particularly looking at JSON. We'll talk about this. In case the resource is not found on the server, then it must return HTTP response code 44 not found. Simply, if it is determined that the GET request itself is not correctly formed, then server will return HTTP response code 400 BET request. I have all of this in identical docs, and I will show that in a bit. But I'm not going to talk about the URLs though, or URIs. To be honest, I'm not going to talk about this. HTTP post. Use post APIs to create new subordinate resources. Okay. Ideally, when talking strictly in terms of REST, post methods are used to create a new resource into the collection of resources. Ideally, if a resource has been created on the origin server, the responses should be HTTP response code 201 created. Okay, and then we're going to put. Use put APIs primarily to update existing resource. If the resource does not exist, then API may decide to create a new resource or not. Okay. And then lastly, HTTP delete. As the name implies, delete APIs are used to delete resources identified by the request URI. And then a successful response of delete request should be HTTP response code 200. And then if a response includes an entity describing the status 202 accepted, that one is not relevant. But I'm not going to do patch because I don't use patch. So I'm not going to teach you anything I don't use. So you can do your own Google research. I mean, me and my lecture were talking about patch as opposed to post. But I'm not going to do patch unless there's a need for it. So yeah, I think we are done. We are absolutely done. So what I want to do, I want to show you these verbs in the context of my system. I don't want this guy to confuse. Okay, so now just to recap on something, this project that I'm currently on is 2-in-1. It's both MVC and Web API, and I will talk about this project when we do a video on controllers because it's very, very important, and also on contracts. Okay, so now let me go to controllers and open just 2 controllers. Okay, so I'm gonna go to V1 and I'm gonna go to general, feedbacks, and phone number controller. Let's wait for feedback to load. Yes, and phone number. I'm not going to cover these specific APIs at the moment, or should I say endpoints at the moment, because there will be a time for me to cover feedbacks and then phone numbers respectively in detail. But what I want to show from feedbacks are these attributes. Let me not spoil the goodness. Okay, good. What do you see here on line number 32? You see an attribute called HTTP GET, right? And then also what you see on line 68, you see an attribute called HTTP POST, right? And then when you come to a phone numbers controller, also I don't want to spoil the goodies. We'll get into this in detail at a later stage. Okay, so what do you see on line number 35? HTTP POST, right? And what do you see on line number 92? HTTP PUT. So when it comes to feedbacks, now I need you to pay attention to this series specifically with the intent of understanding the next series that's coming, which is a Xamarin. Because when I click on this controller, it's a class by your controller called feedbacks. You need to understand, because when I be doing a live demo, when I do a mobile or should I say a Xamarin series, so I need you to pay attention to everything, right? Okay, so this guy simply means that we are posting a feedback, we are accepting a feedback. Look at the comment from Swagger. It says add one feedback from the user to the system, right? That's it. But we'll talk about in detail this specific controller and this specific endpoint in detail later on, not now. But if you look at this one of a get, it says a get all. You can get a specific item or resource, but also you can get all the resources. In this case, get all the approved. There's a condition. Get all approved feedbacks from the system. I just want to show the attributes. When it comes to phone numbers, the very first one, which is post, HTTP post. So this one, it sends the code for the phone number from the user to the system, right? The second one, which is put, this one, it verifies the code for the phone number from the user to the system. So I just want to show that this is how you decorated the actual endpoint. I'm just going to call these endpoints, okay? This method. In MVC world, they're called action methods. I know there are action methods in here, but I'm going to call them endpoints. You can correct me if you want to. Okay, so that's how you decorate. You decorate each and every. How I like to do it for best practices. Now, this obviously is a Swagger comment. This block comment, it's meant for Swagger. This specifically the way it's been designed, it's meant for Swagger. Okay. Now I'm not going to talk about it. So this should be the first thing, and then this is the second thing, which is HTTP post. You should always make it the first attribute that you add. And then we are done with this video. Stay tuned for the next video where we're going to be talking about response type, because this is very important. Maybe I'll get deeper into the response type that's being expected. Stay tuned for that. For now, I'm gonna ask you if you find this video helpful. I'm still gonna get deeper. I'm just now laying a bare minimum, expectation for you. I'm just teasing you. But if you find this material to be helpful, please give it a thumbs up, like it, and leave a comment if you have any. And sometimes I'm just gonna use words because my mind runs wild. Sometimes airtime is gonna run out of, my English is gonna run out of airtime. Sorry, it's gonna deplete. But you can try to rectify me using the comment section below. Most importantly, subscribe, and please click on the notification bell so you can be notified when I drop the videos. With that being said, stay tuned for the next video.